What if everything you believed about the Bible was only half the story? What if there was a hidden code meant for you, but buried for centuries? Imagine ancient hands, trembling in the glow of a single flame, rolling open a scroll as old as time. The whisper of parchment, the flicker of shadows, a heart pounding in the dark. You see a hand pausing above faded words, breath held. The air is thick, like the moment before thunder, or a secret on the edge of being spoken. They told us the Bible was holy, untouchable, pure. But they never told us about the vanished voices, or the secret society that hid mysteries in plain sight, right between the lines. Tonight, you are not just a listener. You are the seeker, the code breaker, the one the secrets were meant for. What if the Bible is a map and the real treasure is hidden in plain sight? What if the most powerful truths were written to be found by those who dare to look deeper? They warned you not to question, but questioning is exactly how the doors open. In the shadows of history, beyond stained glass and polished pulpits, a story waits. A story about rebels, mystics, and outcasts, people who risked everything to preserve a light they knew would one day be needed. And that day is now. Tonight, we will peel back the layers, move past the edits, the politics, the fear. We'll travel to candlelit caves, across lost deserts, and into the forbidden rooms of empire. We'll chase the code, the hidden thread, the song that was never meant to die. Are you ready to see the story beneath the story? If you're feeling the pulse, the pull of a question you can't ignore, leave a comment, share your own moment of awakening, or the question that never left you. Like, subscribe, and join our circle of seekers here at the Prophecy Vault, where wonder is welcome and no question is forbidden. Because sometimes the story you were told is just the door, and the real journey begins when you step through it. What if the Bible is a vault, locked by riddles, myths, and secret hands? Picture a hand reaching through centuries of dust, fingertips trembling as they brush the cracked leather of an ancient scroll. A hush falls. The air itself feels different, dense with anticipation. Slow motion. Light flickers across a brittle surface, old as forgotten kingdoms. You hear it, the delicate sound of parchment, a whisper in the dark, like a secret longing to be heard. Imagine being the first to touch the Dead Sea Scrolls, unrolling a mystery sealed for 2,000 years. Your breath catches as faded symbols glow beneath the lantern, lines you can barely understand, but you feel their power. You realize you are not holding just a book. You are holding a code, a map, a vault filled with stories that have changed the world, but only for those willing to look deeper. Most of us were told the Bible is a book of rules. Do this, don't do that, believe or else. But what if it was never meant to be that simple? What if it was crafted layer by layer by mystics and poets, dreamers and outcasts who wrapped its core truths in symbols, in riddles, in myth? The surface stories, Eden's serpent, the flood, the Revelation dragons, are more than tales for children or warnings for the fearful. They are parables like Jesus told. He said it himself. To you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Matthew 13:1. He spoke in riddles on purpose, not to hide the truth from the worthy, but to make sure only those who truly seek would find it. You can feel the difference when you listen closely. The Garden of Eden, maybe not a place on a map, but a map of the soul, a pattern of innocence, temptation, and the loss of unity. Noah's flood, maybe not a weather report, but the memory of cycles, the drowning of old ways, the promise of new beginnings. Revelation, not just the end of time, but a code for transformation, the death of the old self, the rise of light out of chaos. Let's go deeper. Imagine the scribe hunched over the scroll in candlelight, hands ink-stained, eyes burning from the effort to hide something precious inside common word. His pulse racing because he knows what he preserves could cost him everything or set generations free. The Bible isn't just a vault, it's a puzzle. Symbols for the hungry, metaphors for the brave, paradoxes for those who don't settle for surface answers. Its design is almost cinematic, shifting from light to shadow, from thunder to stillness, from the agony of exile to the hope of return. Every name, every place, every number, every strange story echoes patterns, mirrors, keys, like a code locked away, waiting for you. But the code was never meant to be solved alone. It was meant to activate, to stir something inside you. A question, a tremor, the urge to ask what lies behind the page. Have you ever wondered what you missed by only reading the surface? What power, what wisdom, what spiritual revolution lies just beneath the obvious? Pause. Feel the echo. Maybe you've read a verse 100 times, but tonight, a word glows brighter. A symbol pulses. A story whispers, there's more. That's the code waking up in you. In every generation, there are those who sense it, who refuse to accept simple answers, who risk being called heretic, dreamer, or rebel, just to touch the current of something real. You are not alone. As we move forward, let the imagery linger. A vault creaks open in your mind. A code hums in your chest. You are not just a listener, you are a decoder. You are standing at the threshold just as the ancient scribes once did, ready to see what was hidden for you all along. If the Bible is a code, what have you missed by only reading the surface? What would it mean to finally step through the door? The darkness shifts, a new light seeps in. Somewhere a drumbeat starts, a signal that the journey is only beginning. Follow the sound and let's unlock the next layer together. Who were the mystics who guarded the real message? Imagine nightfall in the Judean desert, wind carving cold lines across ancient stones. Somewhere beneath the stars in a place called Qumran, a silent brotherhood gathers by the light of flickering oil lamps. The world outside is dangerous. Rome's empire stretches its shadow over every road, every thought, every prayer. But here, beneath the earth, in caves and quiet halls, something eternal is being protected. You are a scribe, a young Essene monk, robed in white, heart pounding as you copy lines onto a scroll. The papyrus crackles beneath your trembling hand. The candle gutters and the shadows on the walls seem to move, as if spirits are listening. Each letter you ink is a vow, a promise, a thread in a tapestry of secrets woven for centuries. Listen, there are footsteps echoing outside, far away, but always too close. You know your mission is dangerous. You know the code you keep could change everything if it ever reached the wrong hands or the right heart. Every night you pray, let me guard the secret, let it survive the fire. Who were the Essenes? Not priests in golden robes, not kings or generals, but keepers of a hidden stream. They lived apart by the waters of the Dead Sea. They bathed each day as ritual, ate in silence, watched the stars for signs. They rejected the politics of the temple, the power games of the city. They believed that God dwells not just in buildings, but in the silence within. They called themselves the sons of light. They spoke of a coming teacher of righteousness, a mysterious figure, both human and more than human, who would wake the world from sleep. Some say these men and women were eccentric, lost, even paranoid. But the truth is, they were the hidden pulse behind a revolution no empire could stop. They studied not just law, but prophecy and poetry. They copied scrolls by lamplight, ancient texts and new revelations, stories encoded in riddles, warnings and promises and dreams. Their code was this: God is within. The kingdom is inside you. The world outside can burn, but the secret will not die. Now picture the caves of Qumran. Jagged rock, wind howling through blackness. Somewhere, wrapped in linen, sealed in clay, a scroll waits, inscribed with Hebrew letters, lines curling like rivers of fire. The teacher of righteousness speaks from the parchment. Walk in the way of light. Keep the inner law. The true temple is not built by hands, but by heart, awakened. You shiver, not just from cold, but from knowing you are touching something larger than history, a current that runs beneath every doctrine, every war, every empire. Why did the Essenes hide their word? Why risk their lives, their legacy, for symbols and stories? Because they understood a truth that threatened all power. If God is found within, if the sacred is born in silence and struggle, then no priest or king can claim your soul. Imagine your hand moves faster now, copying another line. Your teacher whispers, some things must be hidden until the world is ready. Truth endures even in an exile. Right for those who come after, who will need to remember when all else is forgotten. Sometimes you hear the wind outside and wonder if it carries the voices of Roman soldiers searching for rebels, or if it's the breath of God urging you to finish before dawn. Every time a lamp flickers, every time a friend disappears, you feel the tension. Will the code survive? Or will it be lost in the fires of empire? The Dead Sea Scrolls would vanish for almost 2,000 years, buried in caves, waiting for the world to awaken again. And when they were found, the world trembled. In those scrolls, secrets glimmered, prophecies older than the Gospels, visions of light and shadow, the teacher's voice echoing. The law is written not on tablets of stone, but on the soul. That was the Essene gospel, and it could not be killed. If you lived then, would you risk everything to protect a hidden truth? Could you spend years in silence, knowing your words might never be read, or might change everything centuries later? Could you keep faith, not in a building or a law, but in a secret that might outlive even you? Tonight, as you listen, imagine the feeling of that scribe, one hand ink-stained, the other trembling with hope and grip. The world outside burns, but here, in this fragile light, a message is being kept alive for you. The Essenes are gone, but their stream flows on. Every time you read a parable, every time you feel a story burn beneath the surface, every time a line from Jesus echoes, the kingdom of God is within you. That is their legacy. They knew that when the world is ruled by fear, when truth is buried by power, someone must guard the flame until the next awakening. What would you have done if you stood in that cave, surrounded by darkness, knowing your secret could change the world? Would you hide it? Would you risk your life? Would you trust that someday someone, maybe you, would come searching for the light beneath the stone? Tonight, you stand in their place. The code waits. The secret endures. You are not just a listener. You are part of the Hidden One's legacy. As the candle dies and the cave goes dark, the vision shifts. From the silence of Qumran, the camera pans up, rising through centuries. Faintly the horizon glows. You see Rome, golden, glittering, waiting, ready to rewrite the story. But what the empire could never see, the real message still burns inside the vault, inside you. Let's step out of the shadows and into the glare of empire. The story is not over. It's only moving forward. What happens when empire rewrites the sacred? Imagine the world in flames, the sky red with fire, parchment turning to ash beneath marble pillars, and voices echoing across centuries. It's the 4th century. Rome stands unchallenged, a titan draped in silk and steel. But inside those walls, power is anxious. A new faith is spreading, too wild, too free, too unpredictable for empire's taste. And so, behind closed doors, men in robes and crowns gather. They call it the Council of Nicaea. Feel the tension. Priests and bishops whispering, soldiers at the gates, the shadow of the emperor stretching across every face in the hall. They are not here to discover spiritual truth. They are here to define it, to control it. Scrolls are piled high, names argued, stories weighed and measured, not for light, but for loyalty. Somewhere in the city's shadows, a disciple clutches a forbidden gospel. It is the gospel of Thomas, words not of rules, but of riddles, invitation, awakening. His hands shake. He remembers the line, "Whoever discovers the meaning of these words will not taste death." Can you feel his fear? He buries the parchment beneath the earth, his tears mingling with the dust. Above, the phares burn higher. Manuscripts, letters, scrolls, the lifework of dreamers and mystics, consumed by order, by decree, by the demand for one voice, one story, one Christ. The heat is suffocating. Ash swirls in the air, clings to faces. A page from the Gospel of Mary floats upward, its ink bleeding. It tells of visions, of a woman trusted by Jesus, of questions and hope. But it is too dangerous. The Gospel of Philip is hurled into the flames, its vision of sacred union, the alchemy of soul, erased by men who feared what they could not master. Somewhere, the book of Enoch is read for the last time. Its stories of angels and giants, of mysteries too vast for the empire's borders, now forbidden. All that cannot be tamed, that cannot be controlled, is declared heresy. Not because it is false, but because it is free. Outside the walls, crowds gather, hungry for answers, longing for the sacred. But Rome knows a faith you cannot contain will shake empires. So it builds a cage of gold and doctrine, locks away the wildness of spirit, and offers the world a Jesus made set, predictable, imperial. Imagine that moment, the first time the church decrees what can and cannot be believed. Every word is a boundary, every omission a wound. Now step inside the heart of that secret disciple. Feel the weight of what is lost. He remembers the teacher who spoke in riddles, who told his followers, "The kingdom of God is within you." He remembers the code, the promise that anyone could awaken, anyone could find the current of Christ inside their own soul. He wonders through tears, will anyone remember what was truly said? Will anyone ever know the difference between the truth and the edit? The scene shifts. Ashes blow through dark streets. Priests hold up new texts, gilded and approved. But in the alleyways, scraps of forbidden pages pass from hand to trembling hand. A line from Thomas here, a fragment of Mary there, buried in memory, kept alive by whisper, by longing. What was the empire's true goal? It was not to save souls, it was to save power. A Jesus who forgives but demands obedience. A God enthroned above, not living within. a faith mediated by priests, not born in every beating heart. The fires die down, but the cost is immense. Generations will grow up never knowing the other Gospels, never reading the poems of Philip or the questions of Mary, never feeling the shiver of Enoch's angels or the daring of Thomas's promise. But something remains in the ash, the whisper of the unsaid, the ache of what was taken. How much of your faith is your own? How much was edited for you? Imagine the impact centuries later, when scraps of those lost texts are found in jars, in the ruins of empire's control. Imagine the breath held, the hands trembling as forbidden words are read aloud for the first time in 1,000 years. Split the wood and I am there. Lift the stone and you will find me. Can you feel the hope returning? Can you sense the code awakening in your own spirit? Now look around you at the world today. See how questions still burn. See how people still long for the voice beneath the edits, the Jesus who could not be tamed, the Christ who lives as a current, not a crown. It is no accident that you are here, listening, seeking. The journey of faith is not just a story of believing, but of remembering, reclaiming, reawakening the parts that were buried. Tonight, as the embers glow, let yourself wonder, if you were that disciple, would you risk everything to save a hidden gospel? If you were at the council, would you have dared to speak up for the words that set people free? Let the image linger, a single page, scorched but unburned, carried by the wind into the dawn. A voice, soft but unstoppable. Whoever discovers the meaning of these words will not taste death. From the ashes, a new light stirs. It's the glow of questions you are now asking, the fire of truth that refuses to die. As the scene widens, the empire's walls fade into memory, and a new current runs through the world. One not of command, but of invitation, not of empire, but of awakening. You have seen the edits. You have felt the loss. Now you are invited to rediscover the light that was meant for you all along. Let's follow that glimmer, that hope, as we journey forward. Because the real story, the one beneath the edit, is still alive, still waiting to be found. What if the spark never died and is waiting inside you? Close your eyes and feel it. A single flame flickers in the darkness, small but unafraid. The world outside is noisy, screens, voice, centuries of doctrines and edits. But here, in the hush, something ancient stirs. You're sitting in a quiet church. The pew is cool beneath your palms. You're not sure why you're here tonight, only that you need something real, something living. Your hands tremble as you open a worn Bible. Your eyes fall on a line, one you've read before, but tonight it pulses with new electricity. The kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. The words lift off the page. They glow, alive, bright enough to light the deepest corners of your mind. You look around. Other faces flicker in by the candlelight, some old, some young, all of them searching. Maybe they've spent their whole lives looking for God in the sky, in stained glass, in stories told by others. But here now, you sense it, the possibility that the code has always been inside you. You remember the stories. Jesus saying, "You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:14. "You will do greater things than I." John 14:12. Could it be? Could the living code, the message hidden beneath centuries of edits, be waiting for you to see it? Not just with your eyes, but with your soul. The air feels different. A single candle on the altar burns a little brighter. You imagine the spark jumping from that flame, passing through the room, touching each person in turn. A young woman lifts her head. A man's breath catches. A child smiles in his sleep. The code travels, igniting hope, waking memory. You close your eyes and listen. It's not a voice outside you, but within. It whispers that you are not just a follower. You are a seeker, a decoder, a living chapter in a story that refuses to end. Every heartbeat is a drum. Every breath is an invitation. You think of the mystics, the rebels, the forgotten writers who risked everything to preserve the light. You wonder what they felt, copying words in the dark, knowing the code would someday reach someone, maybe you. You look back down at the page. The verse is still there, but it feels different. It feels like a key. The kingdom is not above. It's not locked away by priests or councils. It is here. It is now. It is you. What if the spark never died? What if every story you were told was really a map, pointing you back to this moment, this awakening? You can almost feel the code flickering behind your ribs, humming in your veins. Let the imagery linger. One candle becomes 2, then 4, then 100. Each new flame lighting another face, another soul, until the whole room is aglow. For a moment, the centuries dissolve. You see the seekers who came before you, scribes, mothers, children, doubters, each one carrying a spark, each one adding their light to the code. And now it's your turn. Are you ready to remember the part of the story only you can unlock? The question hangs in the air, soft, insistent, true. The music slows, the light softens. You realize the code is not just for you, it is you. As you rise, as the world outside beckons, you carry the spark with you. Everywhere you go, the code walks in your footsteps, shines in your eyes, speaks in your actions. Let the light fade out gently, slow, and full of promise. You are not just reading the code. You are the living code, waiting, waking, shining. And as the final note fades, you know the story is still being written. The next chapter begins with you. This journey is not just about history lost or secrets buried. It's about reclaiming the sacred code in you, the story no empire can erase. Tonight, as the last page closes and the fire dims, you feel it. A pulse beneath your skin, a memory awakening, a quiet truth that has waited for generations. Through the centuries, stories were rewritten, gospels were burned, voices were silenced. But the living code, the Christos, the light, the breath of spirit, it never died. It waits within you, alive in your questions, your wonder, your longing for something more. No council, no empire, no power on earth could erase the divine signature written in your soul. So I'll ask you now, what if you are the next link in this chain of remembrance? What story will you awaken for yourself and for the world? When the book closes, what new chapter will you begin? Are you willing to light a candle in the dark, to be a seeker, not just a follower? Listen, the last light glides across the closing page. Your heartbeat slows, your breath deepens. You remember, the sacred is not outside, it's within. You are the code, the vessel, the living story waiting to unfold. If something stirred inside you tonight, share your story below. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, not for me, but for the seekers who find their way here, for the ones who dare to remember. This is your community, your circle by the fire, where every voice is honored and every spark matters. Let's light the fire together and see what the world becomes when the code wakes up. Because when you remember who you are, you help the world remember what it can become. And that, more than any empire or book, is a legacy no one can erase.